All right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. My last video I did yesterday about the current NBA and how, there's been a lot of champions that, didn't have like the best defenses and stuff. And of course, always going to get some kind of pushback. Was one of them was, oh, why didn't you do the top 8? Why'd you settle on, like the 10th, number 10 or whatever? And my thing was that was double digits, but that's what stuck out when I did my research, that 4 of the last 9 champions were the 10th ranked defense or higher or worse. That's what stood out, double digits, 4 of them. And then when I looked at the previous 39 seasons, there was only 3. So that stood out. You can use any kind of, reasoning for it, explain it any way you want, but the facts remain, period. So I'm not going to spend any more time talking about that. I'm just saying, you can rebut, you can whatever, but the facts remain. You can say whatever you want about how they did better in the playoffs. Every team does better in the playoffs defensively. The effort gets elevated. That changes nothing. Again, that's who these teams were. And I stand by, defense is just not as big a deal as it used to be as far as winning a championship. It just isn't. Yeah, Boston was the number 1 rated defense, but they were also the number 3 offense, and they never played a team over a 4 seed, just like the Denver Nuggets didn't either. So they weren't tested, against a really good offensive team, a good team on their level. All the teams they played were inferior. Both teams, Denver and Boston. But anyway, enough of that. In this video here, one I find extremely fascinating. God, I love doing this stuff. So I've heard the usual suspects. Definitely Shannon Sharp. I've heard Colin Cowherd say how, LeBron James, he exceeded expectations. I guess like when he came out of high school, the chosen one and all that junk and all that. I mean, if you're talking like stats, longevity, maybe. But if you're talking about winning, no, he did not. He did not exceed expectations when it came to winning. And I got proof. Here's my receipts right here. So, simply looking at, and again, the reason why I'm doing Michael Jordan is because this is always the target of the media. I don't like doing head-to-head comparisons of Jordan and LeBron, simply because to me, it's not even LeBron is not worthy of a comparison to Michael Jordan. But since the media keeps pushing it, keeps bringing it up, and the mindless sheep who follow their every word keep pushing this, fine. Then you know what? I'm going to show you how you guys are just going to get embarrassed. And this is one of those times. LeBron, it's embarrassing to try to put yourself up against Michael Jordan. Embarrassing. Here we go. Okay, so Michael Jordan, in his career, the preseason odds. Now, what's a better metric than what Vegas thinks when money is on the line about who's going to do what? Okay, in Michael Jordan's rookie year, they were tied for the 20th. I believe that was the 20th and 21st best chances to win the championship. So that means there was only 2-3 teams under them. And for me, what the translation that is, now the favorites were Boston and LA. Were both plus 200 to win it. You place a $100 bet to win 200. Okay. For the Bulls in 85, you laid a $5,000 bet, a $100 bet to win $5,000 if the Bulls would have won the championship. So their pick tied for 20th. So the Bulls made the playoffs. So that means they were one of the 16, best teams because they made the playoffs. Then there's 8 teams in each conference making the playoffs. So they were one of the 16 that made the playoffs. So that's a plus right here. He exceeded what Vegas thought he would do that year. Okay? Now, I understand a lot of this stuff is based on who the champions were the year before, who got to the championship. But this is right before the season starts. So they already know about if somebody's going to be injured for the season, if there's been some big trade or acquisition. They know all about it. Because, like I said, money is on the line here. All right. The next year, in 1986, the Bulls were projected to finish 16th through 18th is what they were projected. A $4,000 bet, a $100 bet will win you $4,000. So that's what 40 to 1 odds basically is what it was. So even going by the tied for, it was between 16th and 18th, that group of teams. Michael Jordan missed 3/4 of the season. Still, they made the playoffs. So at the very least, you have to say that he met the expectation. So we'll give it an equal sign. He met expectation. Okay. In '87, the Bulls were tied for 20th to 22nd. They were plus 10,000. So that's 100 to 1 that the Bulls would have won it in '87. So they were projected as the 20th to 22nd, least likely team to win the championship. So they made the playoffs in '87. So he exceeded expectations. Vegas odds, expectations. What better metric to use? 1988. And the favorites are over here. Boston, LA were going to be the favorite in '85. LA won it. In '86, LA was the favorite, but Boston won it. In '87, Boston was the favorite, but LA won it. And then in '88, the Lakers were favored and they won it. In '88, the Bulls were projected to go tied for, they were between 14th and 16th at plus 5,000. Again, that's 50 to 1 odds. Well, the Bulls made it to the second round. That's the final 8 teams. So, exceeded expectations. No doubt about it. Okay, so 1989, the favorite was the Lakers. They didn't win it. Detroit did. But whatever. In '89, the Bulls, they actually moved them up a bit. I guess because they got to the second round, whatever. They were projected between 9th and 10th, tied again. They were at plus 2,000. They made it all the way to Eastern Conference Finals, the final 4 teams. So again, exceeding expectations. Right there, plus sign, bam. Okay, so in 1990, they definitely took that into consideration, even though the Bulls were the 6th seed, had a couple of upsets, even still. In 1990, the Bulls were projected between 5th and 8th. They were tied for 5th. There was a group of 4 teams, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. All of them were plus 800. So a $100 bet would win you 800 if the Bulls would have won it in 90. And who knows if Game 7, their team didn't, the supporting cast didn't just fall apart, but whatever. Obviously, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So again, they exceeded expectations. Another plus sign there. In 1991, Detroit was actually projected to win the championship. The Bulls swept them. And I know they had injuries and all that, but everybody does. There's always factors, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's always factors that you can't foresee. Now, in 1991, Detroit was the favorite. The Bulls were 4th. They were plus 700. That's their best odds so far. But since they won the championship, you'd have to say that they absolutely exceeded expectations yet again. In 92, because they won the championship, the Bulls were the favorite, plus 250. $100 bet would get you 250. So they won the championship in 92, so they met expectations. We'll give it an equal sign. They met expectations. In 93, they were the odds-on favorite to three-peat. And it was a tough run. It wasn't easy for them. The odds were almost even money. It was plus 120. $100 bet to win 120. Almost even odds. But they won the championship. So that's an equal sign there because they met expectations. Now, 94, Jordan didn't play. I put it on there anyway because the Bulls in 94, they were projected to finish 10th. They were projected, they had the 10th best odds to win the championship at plus 1,500. And of course, they made it to the final 8. So you could say the Bulls, even without Jordan, exceeded expectations by a little bit. They finished between the 5th to 8th best, teams, whatever. So they did exceed a little bit. The Knicks were the favorite. They were 1 win away. Vegas was almost dead on all these. I mean, they were right there. If they didn't have the champion, they at least had a team that, got to the conference final, if not the finals. They were right on it. Okay, so 95, the Bulls were projected tied for 8th. I think there was 2 other teams, so between 8th and 10th place is what they were projected to win. Jordan missed 3/4 of the season. They didn't even think Jordan was going to play. Without Jordan, they certainly were not going to make it to the second round of the playoffs. That just wasn't going to happen. There was too many good teams in the East at that time ahead of them, like New York, Indiana, Charlotte, Orlando. They weren't going to beat any of those teams. They lost Horace Grant. They were, I think, 34-31 before Jordan joined the team. But when Jordan joined the team, though, in 95, they met expectations because they were one of the final 8 teams. So, again, an equal sign because they met expectations. Even though Jordan missed 3/4 of the season, still met expectations. All right, 1996. Now the Bulls are the favorite. They acquired Dennis Rodman. Jordan's fired up. They probably knew what was coming. I don't know. I think they knew how historic the season they were going to have. But the Bulls were plus 350. They were projected the best odds to win the championship. They did. They met expectations. Okay. And also, just as a little side note about 1996, and people talk about, well, the East was so weak. Well, Vegas didn't think it was weak because you know who the number 1 team to win the championship was? The Bulls. You know who the number 2 team was? Orlando. You knew who the number 3 team was? Indiana. So Vegas didn't think that the East was weak because the 3 top teams predicted to win, had the best odds of winning the championship were all 3 in the East. So I don't want to hear about that junk. That's garbage. That proves it. Vegas didn't think so. Where the money is what matters more than anything. My opinion, your opinion, or some idiot on TV's opinion. Vegas's opinion matters because of the money. That matters more than what anybody else has to say. Okay, so in 97, same thing. This one here, though, is crazy. They started doing preseason odds in 1985. I know it seems like, you're just starting at Jordan. That literally was the year preseason odds started. Look it up. And anyway, this is the only year out of all this and the next one that was even money. In 97, bet 100 to win 100. Even money. And the Bulls met expectations. Okay? They met them. In 98, same thing, but this one was just barely under. It was a $100 bet. They were plus 140. So the Bulls in 98, even though they knew Pippen was going to be out for part of the season, they still had Chicago winning it. And that just shows you, man, they know a lot more than we think they do. I mean, Scottie Pippen missed virtually half the season, and they maintained the number 1 seed and then won the championship. If they don't have a home court advantage, I'm not sure they beat Indiana. I don't know about that. Game 7 in Indiana, man, I don't know. I really don't. I thought Indiana was like pretty much as good as the Bulls were. And, it just came down to that Game 7, the last 5 minutes. And, easily Indiana could have won that thing, even in Chicago. If it was in Indiana, man, I think the Pacers might have won that championship. I really do. I think Jordan, when he gets on the road in those critical games, tends to play better. Sometimes at home, I don't know what it is, but on the road in those pressure games, he just always seemed to play better. So I wouldn't rule out the Bulls winning it, but I'm just saying, Indiana, they would have been tough to deal with in 98. So anyway, every season, as far as the preseason Vegas odds, either met or exceeded expectations every single year he was on the Bulls. Every year. So what are we talking about? All right. LeBron James. Okay. The Mr. Exceeded all expectations. Again, not when it came to winning. All right. 2004, Cleveland was picked to be 23rd. So I didn't even put it on the board. I figured, they didn't make the playoffs. Whatever. Just whatever. I just didn't bother with it. 2005, though, Cleveland was, they were tied for 15th best odds to win the championship at 4,000 to 1. But they were projected based on the preseason odds to make the playoffs. Didn't do it. They didn't make the playoffs in 05. So that'll get you a minus sign. Okay? In 2006, the Cavaliers, they were projected tied for 9th was the preseason odds. All right? They were 1,800 to 1, $1,800, $100 bet to win 1,800, plus 1,800 to win the championship. They made it to the second round, so that'd be the final 8 teams. So they actually exceeded in 06. Okay? No problem. There you go, LeBron. You exceeded in 06. In 07, they were plus 900, projected. They had the 6th best odds to win the championship. Well, they got all the way to the finals. So again, exceeded expectations. That's really good. Okay, here we go. In 08, they were projected, and also, by the way, in 07, Dallas was actually projected to win the championship preseason. Plus 400. San Antonio was plus 450, who actually won it. Dallas was the favorite in 07 and 08. Dallas. I just thought that was funny. 2008, Cleveland lost in the semifinals. They had the 4th best odds to win the championship that year. That's incredible to me. 4th. So, they obviously did make it, because that means they would have lost in the conference finals. They lost in the semifinals. So that's a below expectation right there. How about 2009? 09, they were tied for 4th. Well, that's right where they were, in the final 4 teams. So they met expectations in 09. Okay, fair enough. No problem. In 2010, also in 09, LA and Boston were even odds to win it. LA did win it. And in 2010, LA was the preseason favorite to win it. They won it. So Kobe came through, when he was projected to win it. What about LeBron? Let's find out. 2010, they were the 2nd best odds in the NBA. They were supposed to at least get to the finals based on what Vegas says. They didn't. They got beat in the semifinals, so that is a minus sign below expectations. They did not meet expectations in 2010. He joins Miami in 2011. The big 3, the super team, yada, yada. Odds-on favorite to win the championship, plus 175. Well, they didn't win the championship, did they? They made it to the finals, got beat. So they were below expectations. All right? In 2012, plus 225, projected to win it. They did. So they met expectations. 2013, same thing. They met expectations. 2014, Miami, projected to win the championship. They were plus 200. The second closest team was Oklahoma City at plus 550 in 2014. So they had, 2.75 times greater odds than OKC did of winning it. San Antonio was tied for 4th in 2014. They won it in 2014. So Miami did not meet expectations. They lost. Now, this is where it gets real funny to me. People talk about, whatever. Well, injuries, whatever. Cleveland was projected to win the championship. Okay? Projected to win it. And they didn't. They didn't do it. Injuries, whatever the reason there, they didn't. Okay? So they're below expectations. 2016, Cleveland, preseason, was projected to win the championship. Regardless of what Golden State did, they met the expectations. They didn't exceed it. Everybody makes such a big deal. Oh, they come back from 3-1. All that's true. But all along, they were supposed to win it. They were the favorite. So they met expectations. Okay. 2017, Cleveland, number 2 odds, plus 385. Well, guess what? They didn't win it. Golden State did. And they're taking into account, Golden State actually was negative 128. They're taking into account Durant. So Cleveland was supposed to go second. They did. So they met expectations here. 2018, this magical run that everybody gives LeBron all this credit for. Well, before the season even started, they were supposed to finish second. Regardless of what happened to Isaiah Thomas early on. They signed other players like Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade. They got all these other guys, whatever. So all they did was they met expectations. Now this is where it gets real funny to me. 2019, everybody's, just scoffs it off, whatever. Well, in 2019, the Lakers were the 4th best odds to win the championship at plus 1,800. Well, obviously, they didn't even make the playoffs. So they were below expectations. Golden State was the favorite in 19. Toronto won. So it happens, whatever. 2020, the Clippers were actually the team expected to win the championship, but the Lakers were supposed to finish second. So they did exceed expectations, but not like the Lakers came out of nowhere. Vegas knew it all along. So exceeded in 2020. So they're expecting the Lakers to repeat in 2021. What happened? They got beat in the first round. So that is a below expectation. Okay? Now, before you go on and on about anything about injuries, Anthony Davis, whatever, the 98 Bulls went 38 games without Scottie Pippen, okay? And they still maintained the number 1 seed and won the championship. Yeah, he came back later, but he was not the guy he was in the first three-peat. Still a very effective player, all that. But Pippen missed half the season. They already built the chemistry without him through the rest of the guys. So, there's a little bit of adjustment period, whatever. I'm just saying, that did not affect being the number 1 seed in 98. You got to tip your hat to Michael Jordan for winning the MVP, All-Star MVP, scoring title, first team all-defense, holding him and Dennis Rodman. Those two held that team together. Jordan had a very special season at 35 years old. Now, 2022, that's the year they had Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. More than enough firepower there. Now I know, Anthony Davis got hurt. So that accounts for them winning 33 games. Really? That's ridiculous. That's stupid. So anyway, obviously they didn't make the finals. They weren't second. Now Brooklyn also failed. They were supposed to win it in 22. And obviously they floundered that. But that's below expectations. 2023, the Lakers were tied for 9th. Plus 1,800. They got to the conference finals, so they actually exceeded expectations in 23. That's really good. Now, in 2024, just last year, the Lakers were the 6th best odds to win the championship. 6th. That means you're getting beat in the semifinals. That's what they're saying will happen. You're the 6th best odds to win the championship, right? Well, that didn't happen. They got beat in the first round. Gentlemen swept, whatever. Okay, so when you add it all up, Michael Jordan exceeded expectations 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times exceeded, okay? He met expectations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 times. Oh no, I'm sorry. The 94 season, Jordan was not a part of that. So 6 times Jordan exceeded expectations. 6 times. And 7 times he met expectations. Okay, LeBron James, on the other hand, how many times did he exceed expectations? And this is a guy, this is 20 seasons right here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 times LeBron James has exceeded expectations. 4. Based on Vegas's preseason odds. Met expectations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times. And that means that LeBron James 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, half the time, was below expectations when it came to odds to win the championship. He fell below 10 times. So I don't want to hear about, oh, he exceeded expectations. Not when winning. Not with winning, he didn't. Not with the Vegas odds in winning. He did not. That is crap. And then you look at Michael Jordan. Never went below expectations, what Vegas thought the Bulls would do. Never did worse than what they thought. Either they did exactly what they thought or he did better. The Bulls did better. So, again, to me, this is absolute proof that LeBron James, at least when it comes to winning, did not exceed expectations, and he's nowhere near Michael Jordan. I mean, not even close. Half the time, Jordan's doing better when he's not being picked to win the championship, and the rest of the times, he's doing that. He's picked to win it. He wins it. Plain and simple. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. And until next time.